So on this installment of Dry January, we're going to be talking about the required system pneumatic pressure in a dry sprinkler system. So it's essentially the pressure of the air or nitrogen that we need to maintain in that sprinkler system. And it's important to make sure that that pressure is not too high or not too low. If that pressure is too high, what we're doing is essentially increasing the amount of time that we need to have for that air to decrease to a pressure to allow that dry pipe valve to trip. And if it's too low, we're sitting and running that risk of potentially accidentally tripping that valve and allowing water into that sprinkler system when we haven't had a sprinkler activate. So the first thing we need to do when determining that system pneumatic pressure, that pressure we need to maintain, is we've got to figure out what the trip pressure is. And typically for most dry pipe valves, we're going to be going to that manufacturer's instructions to determine what the trip pressure is, and they're also going to provide what that system pneumatic pressure needs to be maintained at. And the reason why we've got to look at that is most or all dry pipe valves have a differential pressure that they have to keep that clapper closed. Typically for dry valves, it could be around 6-1, meaning 1 psi of air can hold back 6 psi of water. But that changes depending on the dry pipe valves. You want to look at the manufacturer's instructions. So we're going to look at the manufacturer's instructions to determine that trip pressure. But if you look down below, NFPA 13, there's a section here on that pneumatic pressure. So if we don't have that provided, then we're going to look for that. We're going to determine the trip pressure, and we want to be 20 psi above that. Now, what's important to pay attention here is we need to be using the highest normal water pressure of the system supply. So that's one thing to be looking at. Even when you're using the manufacturer's instructions, we need to be looking at what's that highest normal water pressure that we could see on that system side of that dry pipe valve. And then once we get that figured out and we determine what that maintenance pressure is, we want to make sure that we're monitoring that and we're getting supervisory signals if that pressure either goes too low, meaning we're getting close to activating that dry pipe valve, or if it's going too high, which means, we're going to delay the water delivery. So we need to have some sort of supervisory device. Typically, we're going to be using the fire alarm control unit. We're going to be using an air pressure switch. And we're going to need to get a supervisory signal when that air pressure drops to a minimum of 5 psi above that trip pressure. And then we want to get a high pressure supervisory signal if we're going at least 5 psi above that system air pressure. So those are some things to pay attention to when determining what we need for that pneumatic system air pressure. If you're interested in learning more about some different types of sprinkler system types, I will post a link to a blog that goes over different types of sprinkler types, and stay posted for more videos that we're going to be posting about dry sprinkler systems and dry water-based fire protection systems as well. Thank you.